Shadows of Betrayal. This is a story about love, betrayal, and resilience. It tells the tale of a brave woman named Emily, who finds herself entangled in a whirlwind of challenges and shocks. With her courage and the support of her family, she manages to overcome the hardships and finds the inner strength to rebuild her life. Let's delve into Emily's world and explore her journey filled with events and emotions. The day started ordinarily but quickly turned into a nightmare. Emily, who had been living a stable life with her husband, David, discovered something she never expected. While cleaning the house, she found his personal phone, which he had forgotten in the living room. Driven by curiosity, she opened the phone and started browsing through the messages. Emily was shocked to read the messages between David and another woman named Amanda. He had written to her that he married Emily against his will to please his parents and that he wished the day would come when he could divorce her, but his parents wouldn't allow it. He shared the minutest details of their married life, including the fact that he slept in the children's room alone because he couldn't stand touching her. Emily was stunned and couldn't believe what she was reading. She told herself that this couldn't be true and that there must be some mistake. She took the phone and stood in front of the bathroom door, waiting for David to come out. When he did, she confronted him, crying, and asked him about the meaning of what she had read and who Amanda was. David quickly took the phone and yelled at her, asking how she had opened the phone. Emily shouted back, saying that how she opened it wasn't important. What mattered was why he was saying these things about her and how he dared to share their household secrets with another woman. Coldly, David ended their argument by saying that the matter didn't need all this drama and asked her to stay out of his way because he was going to work. David left the house, leaving Emily in a state of anger and shock. 10 minutes later, his mother arrived and asked Emily what had happened, as David had told her they had fought. Emily told her everything, but she didn't find the understanding she was expecting. Instead, his mother coldly told her that she shouldn't be snooping around her husband's things and that what mattered was who his actual wife was and who slept in his arms at night. Emily was astounded by his mother's words but couldn't convince her otherwise. Emily decided to go to her parents' house and told them what had happened. Their reaction wasn't much different from David's mother's. Her father said that David was young and that all young men made such mistakes, and that in time, after they had children, he would change and focus on his home and children instead of other women. Emily returned to her home, unable to forget what had happened. Days of tension and silence passed between her and David. He tried to make amends, but she refused, unable to get over what he had said and done. About a month later, Emily noticed a sudden change in David's behavior. He became angry at times, silent at others, and started neglecting his appearance and himself. Emily wondered about the reason and tried to talk to him, but he got angry and left to sleep. One day, Emily heard a knock on the apartment door. She opened it to find a strange woman standing in front of her, chewing gum annoyingly and asking for David. When Emily asked who she was, the woman confidently replied that she was his wife. The word was enough to completely shock Emily. She screamed for David to come out and see who this woman was. David rushed out of his room and started yelling at the woman, asking why she had come. She entered the apartment calmly and announced that she had come to her husband's house and the father of her child. At that moment, Emily stood there unable to believe it. When the woman told her that David hadn't informed her about their marriage and that she was pregnant by him, the shock was even greater. David tried to approach her to talk, but Emily was just screaming and refusing to hear any words from him. She continued to scream until she fainted. When Emily woke up, she found herself in her bedroom with a doctor standing next to her, talking to David and advising him to ensure she rests and takes her medications on time. She tried to get up but couldn't move. The doctor told her she was 3 months pregnant, which was another shock. She couldn't believe she hadn't noticed the symptoms. She thought about getting rid of the pregnancy immediately. After the doctor left, Emily sat on the bed crying and began hitting her stomach with all her might. David entered the room and saw her, rushing to grab her hands and yelling for her to stop, threatening to kill her if anything happened to the baby. Emily sat on the bed crying, repeatedly telling him she hated him and didn't want him. The other woman entered the room, drawn by the loud voices, and asked how Emily could be pregnant when David had told her he didn't go near her. Emily looked at David with disdain, unable to believe he had shared such details with that woman. David yelled at the woman, ordering her to go back to her apartment. She replied calmly that she wouldn't leave and would stay to divide the days between them. Emily screamed that there was no need to divide the days because she would ask for a divorce. The other woman smirked mockingly and pointed her towards the door. David yelled at the woman again, ordering her to be quiet. She replied coldly, saying she didn't understand why he was so attached to Emily, reminding him that he had told her he married Emily against his will and would complain about her. Emily couldn't bear to hear more. She asked David and the woman to leave, telling him she wouldn't stay in the same place with him. David called his mother and asked her to stay with Emily, then left with the other woman. Everything that had happened was a nightmare for Emily. She decided to return to her parents' house and ask for a divorce. When she told her father what had happened, she blamed him for not supporting her from the beginning, and that things had gotten to this point because of his neglect. Emily insisted on the divorce, but David refused. He talked to her father a lot, admitting that he had made a mistake by marrying the other woman and was willing to divorce her as soon as she gave birth. He thought that if he divorced her, Emily would come back to him, not knowing that she had already come to hate him and that everything between them had ended. Emily filed for divorce. Months later, Emily's due date arrived, and the case was still in court. Her father informed David's parents that she was giving birth at the hospital. David came with his parents. After she came out of the delivery room, Emily asked about the baby she had given birth to. They told her she had a baby girl, and David was holding her and didn't want to let go. Everyone tried to reconcile them, thinking that the arrival of the baby might make Emily forget what had happened and give David another chance. But Emily couldn't. David sat with her, talked a lot, admitting his mistake and that he had married the other woman in a moment of weakness, thinking he would have some fun and return to his home to find Emily waiting for him. His words made him look even smaller in her eyes. She asked herself and him what she had done wrong to make him marry another woman. He couldn't answer and asked for her forgiveness and another chance for the sake of their daughter. But Emily decided to make a different decision. She decided she wouldn't return to him and that she would raise her daughter to be strong and never give up her rights. Months after giving birth, Emily's lawyer called her and told her that the divorce case had been accepted and the court had issued a decision to grant the divorce. Later, Emily learned that the other woman had abandoned her child and ran away with another man she was involved with. David's mother came to Emily's house in a state of collapse, telling her that David was in a terrible condition after his wife betrayed him and ran away, leaving him with their infant daughter. She begged Emily to return to him. Emily couldn't understand how she could go back to him after everything that had happened, and why he was so shocked by his wife's betrayal. She remembered that David had betrayed her before with the woman who betrayed him now. She realized that life turns, and everyone must taste from the same cup. She didn't feel vindictive towards David as much as she felt happy that justice had been served and that David had felt the same pain she had when he betrayed her. And so my story ends. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to receive all that is new. Have a nice day.